Dark Souls 3, critically acclaimed as difficult, fun, and used to divide skilled and casual gamers apart back in 2016. I've beaten this game before, aside from DLC bosses Slave Knight Gale and Dark Eater Midir, using the old trusty Pyromancy build. My old data is gone, so I can't see how my stats were allocated, or even how far I was to fight the next boss. That was probably around soul level 110, I think. Nothing wrong with a fresh start, so this run will be different. I want to beat Dark Souls 3 with a level cap of 75. For my choice of build, I'll try Dexterity with the side of Twin Blades. After every boss is defeated, I'll allow myself to level up by 5s every time. So like 5, 10s, and so forth. Given how the difficulty amps up, and more weapons are available over time requiring higher stats, I'll need to carefully decide how to allocate my stats. So 2, 3, okay fine, final one. Unless... I decided on Dexterity since it's different from Pyromancy build, given how I used it before and a more dangerous and offensive strategy sounded interesting. I don't really know if this is a challenge run, but I normally just grind to a high level, then do big damage to give that brain some juicy dopamine. So this run will have me try to think of new strategies that's not just dodge and throw fireballs. Also, here's a list of the bosses I'll need to tackle for this run. I got this picture from DeviantArt's Lemage BC. The link to the picture will be in the description. The section of this run will be 3 parts: main game, Ashes of Ariandel, and finally, the Ring City. Maybe this run will teach me something. With that said, let's begin. I start off with nothing but a loincloth, a club, and a dream. Maybe this time I'll finally beat Dark Souls 3 once and for all. I journey through the area and meet the first boss, Udix Gundyr. Since I'm level 1 with low HP and low defense, I need to either be careful on time of hits, or blitz Gundyr. I blitz them like kids to a piñata, and when phase 2 hits, I create some distance and blitz some more. I think I do get hit a few times, but I'm relatively safe. A few rolls and more hits later and Udix Gundyr goes down. With him gone, I head to the Firelink Shrine, the main hub for the game, and level up my strength and dexterity to 12. And then I reach level 5. I'll show the new soul level and stats on the side to save time, rather than just reading it every time. With that, I head to the High Wall of Lothric. While there, I beat a mimic to death for a deep battle axe, I find a few bonfires, unlock a shortcut, I get lost, I find my way to the Vort of the Boreal Valley. It's fast and dangerous if I don't time my rolls properly. Things go smoothly, and when the second phase hits, I time my rolls and come out relatively unharmed aside from a mistake or two. Vort goes down. With Vort done, I talk to the High Priestess Emma and get the small Lothric banner, and wave it like I don't care. I should care since it's why 3 Stooges manhandle me and send me to the Undead Settlement. I grab enough souls and raise my soul level to 10. After that, I free some guy in chains, unlock some bonfires, explore and get sniped by XX Giant Sniper XX. I find some cleric drip and unlock a shortcut by the sewer and bonfire. I finally take on Mother Nature's mansion-sized man-child. In other words, the cursed rotted Greatwood. He's tougher than I thought, and my axe wasn't cutting him down. I tried fighting wood with fire, but that didn't go so well either, so I tried to use the claymore. I played relatively the same, but thanks to the leverage of the claymore, I was able to hit the high sacks of the Greatwood. What messed me up was the second phase, where the arm would pop up and grab me even when I rolled. But with the claymore, it only took 1 try. The Greatwood goes down. I raise my soul level to 15. I travel a bit, watch Arena of Karim vanish after a quick chat, make it to the Road of Sacrifice where I unlock the bonfire near the Crystal Sage. I take on the Crystal Sage, I lose a few times and explore elsewhere. I unlock Farron Keep and find a useful undead bone shard, and extinguish some flames with my bare hands. It's weird how the enemies just didn't rekindle the flames themselves. I explore some more and get the Sellsword Twin Blades. After a few more deaths against the Crystal Sage, my friend Hextrix, or Pyzik, gave some really useful advice. No, what is it?
You just throw a quick, just throw a knife, and it does like 5 damage, but the Crystal Sage clones have like 1 HP.
Oh, I've never thought about that. Oh my gosh. I try it, I get close to winning, I run low on knives and I lose. Turns out, to get more throwing knives, you need to free Grey Rat from his jail cell. So, I get the jail cell key and free him. After another match with the Crystal Sage, I decided to just extinguish the last flame to unlock the Abyss Watchers. After a close match, the Crystal Stage is done. What made me struggle against it? The Crystal Stage fight was incredibly difficult for me when it summoned clones, and I wasn't able to maneuver around the spells and being too slow with my attacks and rolling. The throwing knives device saved me, and it helped with time and managing my stamina easier. As Heisek said, throwing knives do a bit of damage, but the clones have less health, so maybe just like 1 health. And whatever damage the knives did, it took care of the clones, leaving the original open like the king in Fool's Mitten chess. With the Crystal Stage done, I leveled up to 20. I tackled the Abyss Watcher without much luck, but plenty of death. I explored towards the Cathedral of the Deep in hoping of fighting the Deacons of the Deep. I also unlocked the DLC to the Ashes of Ariandel. That'll be a gold pine bundle of joy. I'll go back to tackling the Abyss. The Abyss goes back to sending me to the Shadow Realm without missing a beat. I go back to the Deacon section, I unlock some shortcuts, and I face Deacons of the Deep. Some trial and error with the Alluring Skulls, I secure a win with the classic spin to win. I'll be using this move often, so get used to seeing that animation. What made me struggle with the Deacons was the numbers and fireballs I couldn't dodge. Luckily, the Sellsword Twin Blade gets the job done with a comfortable amount of damage. I'm not sure how I would have succeeded without the Alluring Skulls. With that, I raised my level to 25. More trial and error with the Abyss, and still no success in sight. I tried adding some gold pine resin into the mix, and while playing, a friend of mine, Lock on Me, had an interesting proposition if I were to fail again.
Doing 5 attempts for Abyss Watchers, and if he fails, he has to go play Monster Hunter.
Context as to why Monster Hunter World Iceborne is the punishment, well, I just don't really enjoy playing it, simple as. With the punishment of playing Monster Hunter World Iceborne DLC on the line, I miraculously pull out a victory. The Abyss Watchers is just a really challenging fight. You have to maneuver around the other two Watchers, and the second phase is just really intense.
You got this. I believe.
We just don't want to play Monster Hunter, man.
I believe.
He won.
Cinders of the Lord. Now, I raise my character to level 30. Okay, so what should I level up for the next 5?
Vigor.
You too.
Did you not make a strategy on this?
I think you need some intelligence.
Maybe you need some faith.
Maybe you need some luck too.
This is when I learned something new about leveling up in stats.
Why are you using the cell swords with strength?
Yes. The
What do you mean?
dexterity? Yes. Here when he used the dexterity weapon and leveling up strength.
Yeah.
Was I
Have
not
you
supposed
seen-
to?
Have you seen the weapon?
No.
Look at the weapon.
Alright.
Oh my god.
Bruh.
What am I supposed to look at?
Oh,
my
no.
god. Oh my god.
What am I...
Do you see the letters E and C?
Oh no.
E and C. Do you see those?
Oh yeah, I see it, yeah. Actually, yeah.
So that's a scaling. It has E scaling with strength and C scaling with dex.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
the more dex you have, the more numbers you get. As
The more
opposed
damage
to
you do.
Yeah.
the more
But
strength you have. the
Right
less
now,
strength
you're building.
you get.
It's like you're building Stride Breaker, but you're a Jinx.
No, it's like you're building AP, but you have an AD character.
With that new lesson in mind, I search for the High King Wolnir. Sometime later, I find High King Wolnir with his Nightlight bracelets. He's regarded as one of the easiest boss in Dark Souls 3, and I'll admit, I struggled a good bit against him. My first attempt was good, but the only issue was my lack of knowledge about Wolnir's range of attacks. That poison gas was new to me, after I played too cautiously and I got punished for it. It felt really discouraging. I played too aggressively and died, and if I played too passively, I still died. It felt weird and frustrating struggling against a boss lots of people claimed is easy. I'm not proud to admit I almost quit the run because of High King Wolnir, but I didn't. I just needed to follow the plan, break his bracelets, and run when he do the usual killer moves. Just goes to show that even the most, quote, easiest bosses can be challenging to others. I forget to record a part, but I do reach soul level 35. And also infuse my twin blades with a sharp gem to amp up the scaling damage for dexterity. I did, however, record my fight alongside Sigurd. For a guy wearing such heavy armor, he knows how to move. Sometime later, I reached the Erythal dungeon, and spent more time I would have liked there. Okay, a good chunk of time there. Being bad with maps and directions haunts me yet again. Through some miracle, I find the exit to Erythal dungeon. I could see the bonfire in the distance and I ran. However, one gatekeeper had other plans in mind, and... Okay, yeah, this is... Oh, thank god. Profane capital. No! 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 No!
That is bullshit!
He sent me back to the Erythal dungeon. Just another obstacle I need to overcome to beat this game. Sometime later, I find myself at the same area where the gatekeeper stopped me, but this time, I find myself successfully at the profane capital. It's not too long before I find myself against Yorm the Giant. He may have huge health, but he has one major weakness known as the Storm Ruler, the sword at the throne. You charge it up and slash like you're swinging a hammer at the fair. The timing of the swinging is important, and if you're not careful, you'll taste defeat like I did a few times. Soon, Yorm the Giant goes down like the other bosses. I find myself at soul level 40, about the halfway mark for the level cap. I make my way to Pontiff Sullivan and taste understandable defeat. I decide to explore and fight the old Demon King. Him being slow and predictable made things easy. Him also doing huge amounts of damage wasn't so easy. It doesn't take much time, given my damage, and the old Demon King goes down as well. I reach soul level 45 with comfortable stats. You both know my stats and damage can still go higher. While more fighting against Pontiff, Lock-On asked why I wasn't using the Chloranthy ring. It boosts the speed of stamina recovery. I forgot where it was, but luckily Dark Souls 3 guides are available on Wiki and YouTube. Well, I would have used it, but he pointed me in the right direction. With the Chloranthy ring on, I started to parry thanks to the advice of Isaac again. It would take a while before I got the hang of it, sort of. I was tired and frustrated, so I took a break to play Yakuza 6. The next day, I tried again. Pontiff's variety of attacks and combos made things difficult to predict, and being punished by the attacks were rough on the HP bar. The second phase, he summons the stand, himself. Usually the stand repeats Pontiff's actions after Pontiff goes down, but other times the stand does something else, to maybe spice things up. Still, with some parries and a good blitz, Pontiff and his stand goes down. With another boss defeated, my soul level rises to 50. At a strong level, I head back where I beat Vort and challenge Dancer of the Boreal Valley. I stick close and spin to win on the legs. I also keep some distance after a while to heal. The Dancer gets a few hits on me. It's close, but I take the Dancer down. With that Tango taken down, I go to 55. With the new area unlocked, I go fight some NPCs, do some cardio, and face off against Aldrich, the Devourer of Gods. Aldrich is slow, and I feel like I do a good amount of damage, but the hail of arrows is a bit tricky to dodge. A few tries later, I'm able to evade the hits, and spin my way to another victory. I guess Aldrich didn't have much room for dessert, right guys? With the Hungry God Eater gone, I raise my soul level to 60. Then, I work my way towards Osiris, the Consumed King. Like pretty much every other boss, I struggle with this one. He does decent damage, and I make more mistakes against his attack patterns. After a few close calls, I survive with the skin on my teeth. Osiris goes down. With him down, I can now raise my level to 65. I continue the path, and I get Path of the Dragon emote, and I tackle Champion Gundyr, who's much stronger and faster than last time. Of course, he sends me to the Shadow Realm. In the midst of my struggle, Isaac bestows yet another golden strategy known as... So, in a series of parries, the Champion Gundyr becomes another parry check boss. I'm now at the level cap of 70. Remember the Path of the Dragon emote I just got, like, a minute ago? That's important to unlock the other two bosses, the Wyvern and the Nameless King. The Wyvern fight was more so an obstacle run, where you need to either fight the walking, parrying lizards or roll your way to victory. I fight a few, but eventually take the plunge for victory. After the plunging attack, the Wyvern goes down, allowing me to reach the top of the level cap of this run, level 75, my peak. We've come a long way of having all the stats just a 10. Now that I've peaked, I peek through the rest of Archdragon Peak and try to dethrone the Nameless King. Nameless King's a classic. I remember spending a lot of time with this one. First phase isn't so bad. After a while, it's the second phase that has a delayed attack, big damage, and another health bar. Similar to Souls of Cinder, Sister Freed, and even Slave Knight Gale. Him, alongside Abyss Watchers, Slave Knight Gale, and Sister Freed are the only ones in Dark Souls 3 with cutscenes after their first health bar is depleted. It's trial and error, and I eventually get my timing right for his delayed spear attack for phase 2. I remember struggling a lot with the Pyro build, and at some point I even messaged V1 about how BS it felt. Wow, it's been 3 years. More attempts later, and I dethroned the king. My stats have peaked, but I can use stats enhancing rings if need be. Your Honor, it's all natural. I got it after trading a guy's soul. With that detour taken care of, I explore more of Lothar Castle and find a nice suit of armor, the Dragon Slayer armor. Its second phase isn't anything to scoff at. The aerial attack from the butterflies can be a bit difficult to work with, and the delayed attacks are a struggle as well. Still, the armor joins the other bosses in being defeated in this run so far. I unlocked the bonfire at the Grand Archives. I sprint through the Grand Archives and 1v2 the Lothar brothers. I remember having a white phantom help this fight. At the time, my gaming laptop could only run at 20 FPS and online just never worked for me. But in that one instance, it did. Things were different now. 60 frames per second and 2 swords in hand like I'm loitering. I spin to win. I time my dodges for the magic and slash attacks. Lothar can be revived by Lorien, so the one that needs to be taken down is Lorien. Eventually, the brothers go down. After placing some offerings, I unlock the final boss, Souls of Cinder and the Ring City DLC. The Soul of Cinders is tough. There's different modes and a wide range of attacks, a second phase, and combos that do lots of damage. At some point, he even styled on me after he parried me.
I gotta rewatch that game. That's so cool.
Okay.
Backstab? Oh.
Whoa.
Oh my god, he parries?
Yeah, and his dex build he can.
Wow, man.
And he flips on you.
Wow. Look at that back walking too, my
Bro.
goodness.
You gotta include that in your video.
I decided now was a good time to go Estus hunting. Afterwards, I decided to fight the Soul of Cinder and eventually got his pattern memorized. And, of course, I did another spin to win. With the main boss taken care of, all that's left is the DLC. Of the two, I decided to do the Ariandel of Ashes first. While traversing through Ariandel, I was fighting a red phantom and streaming. I was unexpectedly called out for healing.
Yeah, he's
Oh, his
75.
weapon's busted.
Damn, you healed for that? That was not worth it.
Yeah, I don't think you win that trade. You have a dex weapon. Oh,
I think you gotta
We're catching you.
roll. You gotta roll a bit better.
No, don't roll. Don't roll so late, so early.
You literally did the.
By the way, if you ever see this red phantom Moonbasa, GG. I see a guy chilling by a grave and decided I wanted his soul. I take a break from the DLC and touch some grass. Just kidding. I went to get another undead bone shard. I have a rematch with the Grave Tender champion, and his pets of wolves go into the Shadow Realm. His wolf and the Grave Tender shortly join them. The wolves were easily killable, but the big wolf reminded me a bit of Wart, but having to manage the wolf and the Grave Tender proved to be quite a challenge. With him dealt with, I traveled elsewhere, exterminated some oversized bugs, and unlocked the area to make Sister Fried want to throw hands. And let me tell you, she threw hands. What makes her so difficult? I struggled with her invisibility for a good while, until I learned if you pay attention to where or how she jumps, she'll either be left, right, or behind you. A few times when she does a charge attack, that's a window to attack, or a backstab moment. I wasn't able to backstab as frequently as I would have liked. She can also be parried, but my parry skills aren't really up to par for that task. Even after she's taken down, she runs it back, but has Ariandel with a wombo combo. Father Ariandel is slow, and his fire attacks have a wide range. Sister Fried will usually send ice waves from a distance, so it's usually recommended to target Father Ariandel. Even with that strategy in mind, they'll still find a way to get the upper hand on you if you're not too careful. Luckily, they also share the same health bar, and Sister Fried will stop her ice onslaught to heal once the health bar is low enough. So you can either deal more damage to Father Ariandel, or focus on Sister Fried, who's a sitting duck. Once you survive this fight, you'll learn something interesting. There's a third stage. By now, you're low on Estus, and her attacks have more range, damage, and timing that you need to get used to. After more frustrating deaths, I reach the third phase with a good amount of Estus. I roll and try to find opportunities to strike, and by a stroke of luck, Sister Freed goes down and this DLC is done. All that remains is the Ring City. I traversed through and quickly made it to the Demon in Pain and Demon from Below. Their second phase is a new entity called the Demon Prince. I thought I would have struggled a lot longer with this fight, but I didn't. I'm not too sure what to say for this one, I just needed to focus one at a time. And when phase 2 happened, continue being on the offensive when the Demon Prince was on the ground. They go down and I continue on with the DLC. While traversing through, a friend joined me as I unlock a few new bonfires. I fight Medir, or at least Medir on the bridge, and I send him to the depths. I make it to the church, and usually they have another player act as the boss, but given my low level, there wasn't anyone around to act as the boss, so I fought some NPCs instead. It's fairly doable. I realized if I ran and spun, then I would get an early hit in and lay some damage, that way as the boss staggered. A few more hits and the boss goes down. With that boss down, only the last two left to fight, Slave Knight Gale and the Dark Eater Medir. I've reached my peak from 3 years ago. All that's left is to ascend. My stats aren't as high, but I hope that my mindset and skills are stronger, at least strong enough to tackle these two. I sally forth to challenge Gale, a man shrouded in darkness, a husk of his former self. Even as a husk, he's more than a challenge. He's an obstacle I never faced, but he's still an obstacle I'll overcome. He slashes wildly. He has a huge amount of health, but I'll whittle him down all the same. Just like Sister Freed, he has a scene where his health goes down. His repeating crossbow and boomerang magic, alongside with his new attack pattern, are a challenge. I die, I adapt, I overcome. I took a break to watch Lock-On face Mo and Ornstein from Dark Souls 1. He persevered and overcame his trial, and would later beat the rest of the game. Me? I would beat Gale the next day. Oh my god! Clutch! First try! Let's go, baby! Let's go! All that's left is Dark Eater Medir. He's... Medir's attack pattern and attack damage isn't anything to laugh at. It's a war of attrition, just like the other hard bosses. Still, he's a boss that'll go down like all the rest. My current self still wasn't enough. I had to revisit old areas once more to find some bone shards and Estus that I hadn't collected until now. I also visit the unrested area where the champion Gunder was slain. I travel through the swamps and gather more Estus and undead mode shards. I get the Ring of Favor, my equip load has increased, allowing stronger armor. My ring setup is complete, more or less. I need more than just maxed out healing items. My armor needed an upgrade, and gold pine resin and gold bundle would benefit me to some degree. To get that, I needed the Xanaris ashes at the Aerothor dungeon and grind some souls to buy enough armor, resin, and bundles. I was ready. My armor was slightly below 70%. My weapons were full as well, and my items were also good. And I knew how to handle Medir after all this preparation. The rings had their purpose, increased my stats, roll, and even my equipment load. Medir started the same pattern he always does. I run and slash his head, since that does more damage than if I were to slash anywhere else. I time my rolls, and when Medir uses his white lightning attack, instead of passively critting distance, I close it instead. Stage 2 hits. He roars and summons his past victims to bring me to death. It doesn't work like before. It won't work on me this time. I roll and attack like usual. My plan is working, and my mantle hasn't shattered. The closer he reaches 0, the better. Medir uses his white lightning once more. I close the distance. At some point I use a bundle to slice and dice. He staggers, and his once proud health bar has dwindled into almost nothing. I roll from his attacks. I get hit. A bad prediction could spell death.
Let's be honest.
I spin to win one last time, and end a 10-minute bout.
Let's go!
We did it, boys! We did it! We did it! Woo! Here's the charged solo video. We did it, boys! I can now work on the script. Okay, this is 28 hours. I think before I did the mirror fight, I was like at 21 hours. I don't know how long this took, but it's longer than it should have. This victory wasn't just me. It was a culmination of my friends supporting me and giving me the advice that needed to surpass my old self from 3 years ago. And beat Dark Souls 3 once and for all. The adrenaline eventually died, and I accomplished my goal. Beat Dark Souls 3 with a level cap of 75. And Dexterity. With everything said and done, all that's left is to enjoy the view at the top. I'm glad I did a Dexterity run. It gave me an excuse to play Dark Souls 3 again, and try a new playstyle. And even beat 2 new bosses I'd never reached all that time ago. I thought Twin Blades were really fun, lots of damage per second or DPS, and seeing the spins were fun. I have no idea, but it just makes the brain go burr. Here's the amount of times I died to the bosses. I thought it was interesting seeing the amount of deaths at the beginning compared to the later bosses. The main point is to just keep trying. In a sense, the game teaches you patience and perseverance. Well, more so, the game provides you an opportunity to become more patient, persevere, I'd say. Here's also the soul levels faced against them. If I were to do this run again, which I never want to do by the way, maybe use a magic field only and level up maybe 1 or 2 times after a boss is defeated. So like, run 1 would be 25 levels at the end, while like run 2 would be like 50 levels or something. Or a run where I only level up 1 kind of stat, or level up once after each boss. Originally, I was going to have this run be level up 5 times after each boss, but when I reached around Champion Gundyr, I was having doubts about the quality of this video. Being around level 120 against Meteor didn't sound appealing. I discussed with my friends, getting their insight, and just setting a level cap was good enough. Level 100 felt too high, and I was around level 70 at the time. Capping at 75 was a compromise. This run felt more like a journey than just a run. I may not be the most skilled gamer to get the job done, but I was persistent enough to get it done. Even with the level cap, after each boss defeated, the journey only got harder, and my mental got worse. I felt like giving up multiple times, throwing in the towel permanently, but somehow I never did. That has to count for something, right? My mentality and belief in myself, from 1 year to mid-year, is a huge difference. Stay calm, have a plan, improvise if plan fails. If you fail, learn. It's only over when you quit. I didn't want to just narrate the boss fights with my thoughts. I thought adding my death count and temps and moments which I thought was highlight worthy should be included. This was my Dark Souls 3 challenge run, a simple level cap. Leave your thoughts about Dark Souls 3 if you enjoyed this run, or any other thoughts or different ways you played Dark Souls 3 that made your gaming experience entertaining or challenging, or what kind of run would be entertaining to see. Before I go, huge shout out to my friends for supporting me, making sure I finished the run, and surpassing my old self and not hollowing out. Their channels are in the description below. Peace guys, and remember, praise the sun.